The Traitor. It's a classic twist from all sorts of TV shows, movies, books, whatever. And as far as I'm sure, everyone is shocked to hear that Ninjago does indeed have its fair share of them. These guys are good guys or bad guys, they don't really care if we're really being honest, but they generally have one similar goal in mind. Hey everyone, Hfmasters here, and today we're going to be looking at the top 10 traitorous Ninjago characters. As far as the ninja go, Kai is the obvious choice here. Most of us can agree that if any ninja were going to ever go rogue, it's probably going to be Kai. We got to see a very small glimpse of him starting the turn in the Tournament of Elements upon wielding the Staff of the Elements, and you know what they say, power doesn't change you, it only reveals who you truly are. Plus, in that very same episode, Kai did straight up trick and betray the rest of the ninja, although it was a part of his plan, but I mean still. Obviously though, Kai isn't really, the most egregious example of a traitor, but the potential does remain there. From the beginning we knew Skylar was going to be much more important than the other elemental masters, but I don't think anyone saw what was coming. Initially, she was just kind of there for the tournament, but gradually she grew into playing a spy-like role, siding with the ninja and gaining their trust, before being revealed to be the daughter of Chen and betraying Kai. However, that very same betrayal was relatively short-lived, as almost instantly she changed her mind and betrayed Chen to help Kai and the rest of the ninja. But that's pretty much as far as it goes for Skylar and her traitorous ways, because nowadays she's pretty consistent as far as an ally goes for the ninja. But when she was first introduced, she was pretty much switching sides at every opportunity. Moro no doubt has some traitorous qualities, but to be fair, it is somewhat justified. Wu did fully convince Moro that he was destined to be the Green Ninja, so you can see where his resentment for Lloyd comes from. But he did kinda straight up betray Wu and try to take over Ninjago, so it's 50-50. But yeah, Moro's done a lot of traitorous stuff. First he managed to escape the Curse Realm, then he possessed Lloyd, then he convinced Fenwick to betray the ninja, betrayed Ronan, the list goes on and on for possession. But even after that in Day of the Departed, Moro just decides he's a good guy again and he betrays all the villains and he channels his inner plot device and tells Wu literally everything he needs to know. What a nice guy. Now, at number 7, we got a bit of a combo here, but also, not really. Time Twins were a pretty easy choice here as they went completely rogue on the original Elemental Masters and almost successfully managed to take over Ninjago. However, I do gotta give the edge here to Crux over Chronix because while Chronix was lost in time, Crux did manage to disguise Dr. Saunders, gain the trust of Rhea and Maya, betray them once again, and force them to create armor for what would eventually become the Vermilion. And he managed to repeat that process multiple times. Now that's some real dedication on his part. And even at the very end, they went back on everything and then they betrayed the Vermilion in a last-ditch effort to win. Some true traitors through and through. Alright, next up we have the simultaneously least obvious and most obvious character on the whole list. Leave your predictions now. I'm talking about none other than my boy Fenwick. That's right, shout out to the 3 of you guys who remember this guy exists. Fenwick is that dude from the Cloud Kingdom, and he's one of the writers of People's Destinies. You know what, that doesn't even really matter because this dude's actually just the worst. He brought the ninja into the kingdom seemingly to help them get the Sword of Sanctuary, only to essentially lock the ninja up in a room to die, and then he just gave the sword to Moro instead. And yeah, that's his whole character. I basically just gave you his entire biography. Dude's entire character is just that he's a traitor. But hey, at least he got completely destroyed at the end. I'm sure it's no shock that the biggest villain Ninjago has ever faced shares some of the most villainous qualities. The Overlord is very manipulative and is always setting up his own overarching plan. From the very beginning of his existence, he has been scheming for control over Ninjago. He created the Stone Army to defeat the first Ninjutsu Master, but failed. He tricked Garmadon into starting the final battle before eventually stealing his body to use as his own. And then he came back again and rebooted and forced Wu against the ninja. We'll see what more he comes up with when he inevitably returns, but for now, it's pretty open. Garmadon, I'm sure, was another pretty obvious one. He's had the biggest presence in the show of any villain very easily, and a lot of his backstory is tied to betrayal. When he went to be trained by Master Chen, he learned that it was okay to cheat and do pretty much anything necessary to win, and this would become a major driving force for him. He went on to betray his father and Wu, trying to steal the golden weapons of Spinjitzu, but he was stopped and banished to the Unworld. But despite this, Garmadon was able to later trick Kai into bringing him the Sword of Fire, and he eventually escaped. He would later team up with the ninja to be with Lloyd, but was caught betraying their trust, and at the end of it all, Garmadon returned, but even still betrayed the ninja once again, stealing the golden weapons after defeating the Devourer. Garmadon then became good once again for a small period of time before being killed off in the Cursed Realm, but nonetheless, Garmadon was revived and wasted no time betraying the Sons of Garmadon and killing Mr. E, and after being defeated, rejoining the ninja. We'll see what else the writers have in store for Garmadon, but once again, I think it's safe to say he isn't exactly, the most trustworthy guy. Well, you just heard me mention him briefly, so I'm sure you guys were expecting to see him on the list at some point. He's not my favorite guy, but Chen truly was a master of deception. Ever since the very beginning, Chen had been silently controlling everything. He essentially orchestrated the start of the Serpentine Wars and managed to convince the original Master of Earth to turn against the Elemental Alliance. He created the tension between Wu and Garmadon by convincing Garmadon to sign Wu's letter to Misako, and even after being exiled to the island, he managed to start a noodle business while secretly creating an evil empire. He tricked every elemental master into attending the Tournament of Elements, allowing him to steal all of their powers, and even when that didn't work, he was able to betray Skylar to complete the Anachondri spell. Unfortunately for him, it was all for naught, as Garmadon was able to release the spirits of the Anachondri, who cursed him to spend an eternity in the Cursed Realm. But the fact remains that Chen truly did manage to split apart anyone and everyone en route to reaching his goal. When you think of Traitorous characters in Ninjago, you think of Ronan. He's that guy who you never know if you can trust. One day he's going to be on your side, and then the other day he switched over and he was never with you to begin with. When he was first introduced, he was willing to help the ninja, but only for a price. He betrayed them to get the Sword of Sanctuary, but eventually came back to help. Then in Skybound, he betrayed them once again, capturing all of them for the police department, only to turn around and help Jay at the very end of the season. Since then, Ronan has only made some brief appearances, and he hasn't gotten very involved with the action, but nevertheless, Ronan is no doubt one of the most traitorous characters Ninjago has to offer. Pythor can never just pick a side and stick with it, can he? At least now, Ronan's a pretty unquestionable ally of the ninja, but Pythor... Yeah, Pythor will just do whatever he wants. When he was first introduced, he sided with Lloyd until betraying him the very moment he got the map to the Serpentine Tombs. After uniting the tribes, Pythor then proceeded to betray all of the Serpentine by releasing the Devourer without actually realizing what the Devourer would actually do to them. In the Tournament of Elements, Pythor allied with the ninja to defeat Chen, but that was short-lived because in Day of Departed he once again turned on Lloyd and tried to attack him, only to get just completely destroyed. Since then, Pythor has not returned, aside from a random legacy short, but that's a flashback thing. But it'll be interesting to see where he ends up when he does. But that was it for this little video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your own list in the comment section below. Till next time, this is Hfmasters saying goodbye.